Welcome. This edition of the Catholic News Herald Update will look at one topic and one topic only: the turmoil of the past 2 months in the Catholic Church. Painful, shocking, infuriating. These are some of the words that were used at Mass this past weekend in parishes around the diocese as priests talked to their flocks about this new round of sexual revelations in the Catholic Church.
I want you to know that I stand with you. I stand hurting and outraged at the abuse that is being uncovered within the ranks of the clergy and hierarchy.
If there was any trust left after the scandals revealed in 2002, the year I entered seminary, and if any trust had been rebuilt in the 16 years since then, it is now gone. I am utterly horrified. I am ashamed. I am brokenhearted. I am angry. I am disappointed. I am furious that consecrated men abused children and young people, that they abused their authority and the trust of their sacred office. I am horrified that predators were promoted rather than being punished.
I understand the pain. I understand the anger. I understand the bewilderment. I understand the disgust. Please know that we, the priest of the parish, stand with you. We experience the same thing.
I'm scandalized by what happened. I hate it. And frankly, I don't understand how someone can be leading a completely duplicitous life, doing abominable things out there in the world, and then coming up here and saying the words of institution.
And I want to see reform. I want bishops and cardinals to be removed and investigated, those who were complicit in covering up decades of predators. These priests and bishops have defiled the name of priest and the title of father. And in their wake, they have left victims that continue to suffer. And our suffering by being members of the Catholic Church in these days pales in comparison to the hurt that they have caused families.
The bonfire of turmoil in the church started in late June when it was revealed that retired Archbishop Theodore McCarrick was being removed from ministry due to an allegation of sexual misconduct with a child when he was a priest in the Archdiocese of New York. Stories quickly began to emerge about the sexual abuse of power by McCarrick over seminarians and young priests in dioceses where he later served. He has since resigned from his office as a cardinal and was ordered to a life of seclusion and prayer by the Holy Father while he awaits a church trial. Except to proclaim his innocence in the abuse of the minor, Archbishop McCarrick has had nothing else to say. The crisis grew much larger 1 week ago in Pennsylvania. A grand jury report alleged abuse by hundreds of priests over a period of 70 years, abuse that harmed the lives of as many as 1,000 children. One of the priests named in the Pennsylvania report is Father Robert Spangenberg, who served in the Diocese of Charlotte in the mid-1990s at St. James Church in Hamlet. Father Spangenberg was a priest of the Spiritan order and was presented as a priest in good standing when he came to the Diocese of Charlotte. While he was at St. James, there were no complaints about his ministry. He left Hamlet to take a leadership position in his religious order. Father Spangenberg died in 2006. This past Sunday was the first time that most Catholics gathered for Mass since the revelations from Pennsylvania. At many parishes in the diocese, priests combined their horror at what had been reported with words of healing.
We also need to pray. Do not underestimate the power of prayer at this time, of your acts of prayer, of your acts of penance, your acts in reparation for Holy Mother Church, for the sins that have been committed against her, and in particular, for the sins that have been committed against these victims. Pray for them, for those who have suffered. Do not underestimate the power of your prayers.
God will raise up his saints. God will raise up his witnesses. The ever-faithful God remains ever-faithful and ever-merciful. That is our consolation and our challenge.
Meanwhile, the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops has published a glimpse of a plan that it is working on to deal with the question of accountability for church leadership, something that was lacking in the 2002 Charter for the Protection of Children, which only applied to priests. The plan that will be finalized in the coming months has three main goals: The first is a full investigation of questions surrounding Archbishop McCarrick. The investigators will primarily be lay people. This is an important break from tradition. The second goal is to make reporting of abuse and misconduct by bishops much easier. And the third goal is to advocate for better procedures to resolve complaints against bishops. As we headed into last weekend, Bishop Peter Jugas released a statement that described the situation as shameful. Said the bishop, "I have been hearing from many people who feel betrayed and wonder what is going to happen next to our beloved church." And on Monday, Pope Francis released an unprecedented letter to the world in which he said, "I acknowledge once more the suffering endured by many minors due to sexual abuse, the abuse of power, and the abuse of conscience perpetrated by a significant number of clerics and consecrated persons." At the Vatican, the subject of abuse was on the minds of many people in St. Peter's Square.
Totally bad. They need to do something to stop it. I don't know what that is, but they need to do something.
We are continuing to develop stories about the impact of these events for the August 31st edition of the Catholic News Herald. That's going to do it for this edition of the Catholic News Herald Update. Stay current with Catholic news in the Diocese of Charlotte by visiting our website and follow us on Facebook. I'm David Haynes. God bless.